What happens when elegance meets an unshakable magnetism? Shocking. Chang Wook and Mernel commercial, the pinnacle of sophistication and irresistible charm. From the first frame to the last lingering glance, he commands the screen like no one else. Join red carpet revealed as we uncover every stunning detail, right now. It began with a silence so deep, you could almost hear the weight of anticipation pressing against the air. A slow fade in. A glimmer of golden light reflecting off the marble floor. Then, as though summoned by the very heartbeat of luxury itself, Chang Wook stepped into frame. Mernel's new commercial didn't simply introduce a product, it unveiled a mood, a feeling, a statement. And from the very first second, viewers knew they were about to witness something rare. The camera's movement was slow, deliberate, like it was savoring every millisecond. He wasn't just walking, he was gliding, measured strides that exuded control and quiet dominance. The tailored suit seemed less like clothing and more like an extension of his being. Sharp lines tracing the figure of a man who had mastered the art of presence. In that moment, Chang Wook didn't need to speak. Mernel's message was clear: this is what elegance looks like when it breathes. Social media erupted within minutes of the teaser release. Fans dissected every frame, the angle of his gaze, the way his hand lingered on the product's edge, the flicker of a smile so subtle it was almost missed. On TikTok, slow motion edits multiplied overnight, set to everything from cinematic soundtracks to sultry jazz. One comment read, "This isn't an ad. It's a love letter to perfection." But perfection is rarely accidental. Behind the scenes, whispers spread through the crew about how deeply involved Chang Wook had been in shaping the tone of the commercial. He wasn't there just to show up and look good, he cared about the flow, the lighting, the way the brand's essence could be distilled into a single gesture. When the creative director suggested a more energetic shot, he politely shook his head and said, "Luxury doesn't rush, it lingers." That line became the unofficial motto for the entire shoot. The set itself was a work of art, high vaulted ceilings draped in soft ivory curtains, sunlight pouring through tall French windows, and a minimal yet opulent arrangement of furniture. Every prop was intentional, every shadow calculated. And at the center of it all stood Chang Wook, Mernel's living embodiment of refined charisma. Fans weren't the only ones enthralled. Fashion critics began to weigh in, calling the ad a masterstroke in visual branding and praising the seamless integration of personality with product. The suit wasn't overpowering him, the products wasn't competing with him, they were all in harmony, like parts of a single composition. Then came the turning point, the shot that would become the most talked about moment of the campaign. It wasn't even in the script. Between takes, Chang Wook leaned casually against a marble pillar, adjusting his cufflink as a beam of sunlight caught his profile. The cinematographer, sensing magic, gestured silently to roll the camera. What was supposed to be downtime became the ad's signature frame, a moment so effortlessly intimate it felt stolen from real life. That unscripted shot, according to insiders, sparked an entire re-edit to place it at the commercial's climax. When the final version aired, it wasn't just a product launch. It was a cultural event. Mernel's website traffic tripled in a day. The featured product sold out within hours. International markets, from Tokyo to Bangkok, clamored for the brand's next shipment. And everywhere, the conversation wasn't just about Mernel, it was about Chang Wook's evolution from celebrated actor to bona fide global style icon. Still, numbers and trends only tell part of the story. What truly cemented this ad in public memory was its emotional texture. Watching Chang Wook wasn't just watching someone wear luxury, it was watching someone live it. His eyes carried the calm confidence of a man who doesn't need to prove anything, yet still chooses to leave an unforgettable impression. In one of the behind-the-scenes interviews, he was asked what irresistible charm meant to him. He thought for a moment, then replied, "It's not about trying to be noticed. It's about being unforgettable when someone does." That philosophy bled into every frame of the Mernel ad. Turning it into something more than marketing, it became a mirror for the audience's own desire for elegance and poise. The crew recalled the final day of filming as unusually quiet. Out of fatigue, but because everyone seemed to know they were part of something rare. The actor called cut on the last take. There was no loud cheer, just an exchange of knowing glances, small smiles, and the unspoken acknowledgement that they had captured lightning in a bottle. The global fashion community agreed. Industry panels, advertising executives broke down the commercial's composition. its restraint in an era dominated by fast cuts and aggressive promotion. Mernel had chosen the opposite: slow frames, soft music, lingering gazes, and it paid off in creating an ad that didn't shout for attention but commanded it. And yet, perhaps the most surprising outcome wasn't in the commercial's visual brilliance, but in its ripple effect. Within weeks, other brands began to mimic the Mernel style: toned-down lighting, understated sets, and models trained to convey emotion through the smallest shifts in expression. But no matter how many tried, they could replicate the original. Because the heart of the campaign wasn't just the design, it was Chang Wook himself. His blend of approachable warmth and untouchable sophistication was the alchemy Mernel had bottled. And audiences felt it. What the public didn't know, at least not yet, was the personal story Chang Wook had carried into that shoot. It would only be in quiet interviews months later that he would admit, the energy, the calm, the grounded elegance he projected in the ad came from a deeply personal place. A chapter in his life where he had learned the difference between appearing strong and being strong. Mernel wasn't just paying him to wear their brand, they were trusting him to be their brand. The day the ad premiered, Mernel hosted an intimate screening in Seoul. Among the attendees were key industry figures, brand executives, and a few lucky fans who had won exclusive invitations. As the lights dimmed and the first frame lit up the screen, a hush fell over the room. For 30 seconds, everyone was transported, not to a set, to a world where every detail mattered and every second felt like the only second that existed. When the ad ended, there was a moment of stillness before the applause. And in that pause lay the truth of Mernel's triumph. They hadn't just sold a product, they had told a story. Chang Wook was its heartbeat. The story doesn't end there. It happened next. During the filming's most private moments. It only deepened the ad's legend. Because behind that marble elegance, under the layers of silk and shadow, something unexpected happened, something that made the crew stop, hold their breath, and realize they were witnessing not just an actor in a role, but a man revealing a part of himself. What the cameras didn't capture, at least not for the final cut, was a single, unplanned moment that turned into a whispered legend among the crew. Between takes, as the lighting team adjusted a soft halo around the Mernel display, Chang Wook stepped away from his mark, drifted toward a large window at the back of the set, where sunlight filtered through sheer curtains and shifting patterns. For a long moment, he just stood there, silhouetted in gold, holding the product in his hands, not as a prop, but as though it were something fragile and personal. A still photographer, stationed discreetly in the shadows, raised his camera and captured it. The shot wasn't meant for the public, but when it later appeared in an internal brand presentation, drew audible gasps. It was raw, vulnerable, and yet impossibly poised. Chang Wook stripped of performance, standing in perfect harmony with the world around him. Brand's CEO reportedly whispered, This is who we wanted him to be." When word of that moment leaked among the production team, it took on a life of its own. People began to describe the atmosphere on set that day as almost reverent, as if everyone instinctively understood they were in the presence of something that couldn't be choreographed. A senior stylist admitted later, "It was like time stopped. I've never seen someone embody a brand so completely without even trying." The campaign's release marked the start of a global conversation. But it was what followed that truly astonished even Mernel's executives. Orders poured in from markets they hadn't even targeted. Stores in Singapore, Paris, and Dubai reported selling out of the featured products within 72 hours. Luxury blogs labeled the ad a turning point for Korean high-end marketing, while international fashion magazines rushed to secure interviews with both the creative director and Chang Wook himself. When he finally spoke publicly about the campaign, words surprised everyone. Instead of basking in praise, he shifted the focus to the team behind him, the stylists, the camera crew, the lighting designers who had labored over every frame. "I was just a face," he said quietly during a televised interview. "The soul of this project belonged to the people you didn't see." Fans loved him all the more for it. But there was a deeper truth that few knew. Those closest to Chang Wook revealed that the quiet elegance he projected in the ad wasn't an act, it came from a place of personal reflection. In the months leading up to the shoot, he had taken an extended break from the spotlight, traveling alone and avoiding public events. Friends hinted that he'd gone through a period of self-redefinition, stripping away the noise of fame to reconnect with what mattered. Mernel's campaign happened to arrive at a perfect moment. allowing him to bring that stillness and clarity into his work. Authenticity resonated far beyond the boundaries of fashion. Began sharing their own stories online, how the ad made them rethink the pace of their lives. How Chang Wook's unhurried confidence inspired them to slow down and savor their own moments. A particularly viral post on Instagram read, "He wasn't selling me a product, he was reminding me who I want to be." As the months rolled on, Mernel's sales figures continued to climb. But something unexpected happened. Chang Wook's image became intertwined with the brand in ways neither party had anticipated. Invitations poured in from other luxury houses. Many of them were politely declined. Insiders claimed he told his team, "When you find a voice that fits, you don't trade it for noise." The final proof of the campaign's lasting impact came during a private gala in Seoul, hosted by Mernel to celebrate their record-breaking year. This included A-list celebrities, global buyers, and influential media figures. At the end of the evening, a massive screen played a special edit of the commercial, this time including the unscripted, sunlight-drenched moment that had remained hidden from the public. As that frame filled the room, there was no music, no tagline, no product shot, just Chang Wook, framed in gold light, holding the object as though it held a story only he knew. The applause that followed was long, sustained, tinged with something more than admiration. It was respect. When he finally took the stage, he didn't give a grand speech. He simply smiled and said, "If even one moment from this campaign stayed with you, then it was worth everything." The room erupted, not in polite claps. A standing ovation that seemed reluctant to end. Outside the venue that night, fans waited in the cool air, hoping for a glimpse. Chang Wook emerged. He paused at the top of the steps. Looking down at the crowd, someone shouted, "You made us proud," and his smile deepened. Without rushing, he descended into the sea of cameras and cheers, shaking hands, accepting flowers, offering quiet thanks to each person who had stood in the cold just to see him. It was a perfect bookend to the journey, just as in the commercial. He didn't command attention with noise or spectacle. He simply was. And that, more than any script or design, was the real magic Mernel had captured, a man at the pinnacle of sophistication, whose irresistible charm came not from trying to be remembered, from living in a way that made it impossible to forget.